Welcome to Starwatch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Imagine this. The moment a simple, heartfelt documentary made by two Chinese television stars left Hollywood speechless. Literally. Jimmy Fallon, the iconic host of The Tonight Show, sat back in stunned silence. The reason? A documentary that wasn't directed by a world-famous filmmaker, didn't have $1 million budget, and wasn't backed by any Western production house. No, it was a handheld journey, a spiritual odyssey, a raw, emotional visual masterpiece created by none other than Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo, two stars often labeled as just idols by mainstream media. And yet, they just walked away with a Telly Award in 2024, leaving even seasoned Hollywood veterans in awe. Let's pause for a moment and take in the gravity of this. Two Chinese actors, known primarily for their work in costume dramas and idol culture, created a self-funded, unscripted documentary, and it not only went viral, it changed the game. The title alone, Beyond Boundaries, Eastern Spirits Meet Western Wilderness, already feels like a poem. But what lies behind that name is nothing short of a revolution in storytelling. This wasn't some overproduced visual spectacle. It wasn't made for awards or attention. It was pure passion caught on camera. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan took nothing but a couple of handheld cameras, minimal crew, and a deep yearning to understand the world beyond their borders. What they returned with, a cinematic jewel that speaks across languages, across continents, across hearts. Their journey took them deep into the soul of America. Not the cities, not the lights, but the untouched, unpredictable wild.
Mochila no personal assistance.
Evergreen tree, no red carpet. Film projector, just two artists, walking, hiking, talking, discovering. They stood at the edge of the Grand Canyon in silence. They listened to the wind howl through the pines of Yellowstone. They shivered under northern lights in Alaska and filmed every second of it. And that's why this documentary is more than film. It's a mirror, a bridge, a spiritual handshake between East and West. The name Beyond Boundaries wasn't just a creative choice, it was a declaration, a message to the world. We are not just stars. We are storytellers, and we have something to say. And finally, the world is listening. Hollywood is no stranger to powerful visuals or million-dollar budgets. But what it wasn't ready for was rawness. When Beyond Boundaries was submitted to the 2024 Telly Awards, most judges thought it was just another passion project by overseas stars. But the moment the first few minutes rolled, silence fell across the room. Gone were the typical camera sweeps and CGI sunsets. Instead, they saw unfiltered vulnerability. Tornado, they saw Xiao Zhan nearly in tears as he talked about his fear of being forgotten in a foreign land. Milky Way, they heard Wang Yibo describe how stardom sometimes feels like a golden cage. Snowflake, they watched the two of them get lost in a snowstorm in Alaska. No script, no crew to save them. Just two men, a handheld camera, and the biting cold. That scene alone? Legendary. They used iPhones when the main camera broke. They slept in tents, cooked instant noodles under the stars. At one point, they had to melt snow for drinking water. And yet, somehow, through all the chaos, they captured something Hollywood forgot: truth. Critics were stunned. One called it the most emotionally honest piece of film I've seen this decade. Another wrote, "This wasn't acting. This was life." And when the winners were announced, even Jimmy Fallon, who served on the panel, reportedly stood up and applauded. He later said, "It's not about the budget, it's about the soul." And these two, they poured their hearts into it. This was no fluke. It was a seismic cultural moment. And Hollywood couldn't look away. When the credits rolled on Beyond Boundaries, Eastern Spirits Meet Western Wilderness, something extraordinary happened. The internet exploded. Collision hashtags like #EasternSpirits, #Wang Yibo Xiao Zhan documentary, and #Beyond Boundaries film began trending in over 30 countries, from South Korea to Brazil, from France to the Philippines. Busts in silhouette fan groups mobilized within minutes. Speech balloon comment sections flooded with tears, love, and pride. Artist palette fan art, reaction videos, emotional threads. A tidal wave of content rolled in. But it wasn't just fans. Journalists, filmmakers, even activists began talking about the film's message, about cultural empathy, nature, identity, and courage. One viewer wrote, "As someone from Peru, I've never even heard of these two actors. But their film? It broke me, healed me, it made me feel seen." Globe with meridians across TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Reaction clips of viewers crying, laughing, and reflecting while watching Beyond Boundaries went viral. Microphone, even Asian American communities in the US hailed it as a defining moment for representation in Western media. The magic? This wasn't just Chinese fans celebrating their idols. This was the world finally listening. In just 48 hours, over 10 million viewers had streamed the film on major platforms. That number? Still climbing. And the ripple effect hasn't stopped. Non-profit organizations tied to environmental causes started fundraising in the documentary's name. Some universities added it to cross-cultural communication courses. Even major brands hinted at wanting to collaborate with the duo. It's no longer just a film. It's a global movement of art, soul, and sincerity. And the world can't get enough. What the world saw was breathtaking. But what Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan endured to capture it was nothing short of brutal. Behind every majestic mountain shot was a climb with bleeding feet. Behind every emotional monologue was a night spent shivering in a broken tent, surrounded by the growls of wild animals. At one point in Alaska, the pair got separated during a snowstorm.
No GPS.
No guide, just endless white. They couldn't even call each other. Their phones had frozen over. Wang Yibo later admitted in an interview, "For a moment, I truly thought we weren't going to make it back. But giving up never crossed their minds." They documented everything. Even their panic attacks, their arguments, their silent walks when words felt too heavy. It was painful, but also profoundly real. They faced technical failures. Movie camera, the main camera lens cracked from the cold. Batteries died mid-shot. Tent at Yellowstone. They spent 2 nights without firewood after a sudden snow squall hit. Instead of retreating, they adapted. Used smartphones to film. Used each other's encouragement to push forward. And what came out wasn't just content. It was a chronicle of resilience. A story that whispered, art can be born from adversity. Truth can rise from chaos. For them, Beyond Boundaries wasn't just a title. It was the truth of their journey, both on screen and inside their hearts. This is the kind of storytelling you don't watch. You feel it. You live it. When the final cut of Beyond Boundaries was submitted to the Telly Awards, no one expected what came next. Loudspeaker, a panel of international judges, composed of industry veterans, documentarians, and producers, was so moved, they extended the deliberation time to rewatch it. Not once, but 3 times. Then came the shocker. Studio microphone during a private press event. Legendary director Christopher Nolan was asked if any recent films had impressed him outside of Hollywood. His answer? There's a documentary by 2 Chinese actors, Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan. I don't know them personally, but their work captured a visual soul we rarely see in modern cinema. It was poetic. Poetic. From Nolan. That quote alone sent waves through both Western and Eastern media. And he wasn't alone. Clapperboard indie filmmaker Greta Gerwig called the film a masterclass in minimalist storytelling. Movie camera Japanese auteur Hirokazu Koreeda commented, "They showed us that truth is more powerful than technique." For the first time, Asian male celebrities were not just seen as idols. They were seen as auteurs. Even executives at Netflix and Apple TV Plus reportedly reached out for potential global distribution deals. What does this mean? It means that the walls are cracking. The old notion that only Hollywood can lead in storytelling is crumbling. And at the center of this cultural shift are 2 artists who simply wanted to tell their story. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan didn't just make a film. They started a movement, and the world's best are finally listening. The victory of Beyond Boundaries at the 2024 Telly Awards wasn't just a win. It was a spark. Mobile phone with arrow within 24 hours. The hashtag Eastern Spirits Western Wilderness had 25 million mentions on Weibo and trended globally on Twitter and TikTok. Fan communities from Seoul to San Francisco began creating art, memes, documentaries about the documentary, and even hosted virtual screenings. But the ripple didn't stop at fandom. Classical Building, the Chinese Ministry of Culture, issued an official statement, commending Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan for elevating Chinese cultural identity through global storytelling. This marked one of the rare instances when popular entertainment was officially recognized as a tool of cultural diplomacy. Graduation Cap. Meanwhile, international film schools began citing Beyond Boundaries in their curriculum, analyzing it not just for content, but for its raw narrative structure and independent approach. And the duo? They're not slowing down. Clapperboard sources close to their team revealed a new miniseries in the works, focusing on indigenous Asian tribes and disappearing traditions, aiming to be co-produced with BBC Earth. Seedling, additionally, a fan-initiated charity campaign, inspired by the film's environmental themes, has already raised over $500,000 for wildlife protection across national parks featured in the documentary. What started as a vacation challenge turned into a movement of consciousness. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan didn't just create a film. They planted seeds of empathy, curiosity, and connection that the world is now watching grow. And this is only the beginning. So here we are, Cookers, from a snow-covered ridge in Alaska to standing ovations at international festivals. Wang Yibo and Xiao Zhan have proven one thing. Sparkle's greatness doesn't need permission. It just needs purpose. They didn't wait for a script. They didn't wait for Hollywood to let them in. They wrote their own story with bruises, with frostbite, with raw emotion. And look what they've done. They've built a bridge between cultures. They've shattered stereotypes. They've sparked a movement where art speaks louder than borders. Now it's your turn. Glowing Star, what part of their journey moved you most? Was it the breathtaking visuals? The emotional honesty? The fearless vulnerability? Backhand index pointing down, comment below. We read every single one of your thoughts. Let's talk. Let's share. Let's connect, just like they did. Movie camera. And hey, if you found even one moment in this video that made your heart beat a little faster, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell. Because on this channel, we don't just talk about stars. We celebrate their struggles. We decode their stories. And we bring you closer to the soul behind the spotlight. Next week, we're diving into a rising Chinese actress who just landed a surprise cameo in a Marvel project. You won't want to miss it. Until then, Globe showing Asia Australia, stay curious, stay kind, stay inspired. And remember, your story is powerful too. Thank you for watching.
This is tên kênh của bạn, Signing Off.